a couple of questions a little bit further on, and that is electrical expense. Is that sort of a, I don't think you have your own meter.
I believe that is a number from the county.
Okay, so it's sort of your portion.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's yeah, it's a cost for the various sites, and we got 1, 2, 3. We have 5 of them. It's public, and it's 3 are owned. No, 2 are owned by public service, 1 by the co-op, and then.
Wait. What are you talking? I don't know what you're talking
about.
about.
No, it's part of the tower system.
Okay.
Mike, do you understand?
Okay. Yeah, each one of the towers has its own electric bill.
Thank you.
Associated
Yes,
with
okay,
it.
that makes sense. Utilities, okay. All right, and then the computer expense, you had requested 50,000, and the commissioners cut that to 48. Can you sort of explain what's going on in there?
Yes, that was. We estimated when we first did this back in August, 50,560 to Cybertron doing the IT. Primary plus 4 plus a primary computers and dispatch. And he was planning on working 8 hours a week or 416 hours at 110. That's where that number came from.
So this was originally for the Cybertron.
Most of it, yes.
Okay.
And then I believe they put in a new line item.
Yes, they did.
Right.
Or someone did. Under the sheriff.
That was the change.
Under both. Split under both.
Yeah, we actually asked them to split it.
Right, but where's it split?
Information technology.
It's the last line item.
Line 98.
I have a question. Madam Chair, did you go over electricity costs?
Yeah.
You did?
Uh-huh.
What was the answer?
It's for the towers. You know, the radio towers that they communicate throughout the, it's the electricity that's required for those. Okay, so the 27,000 that they've put down here under information technology is basically they took it out of this computer line, computer expense, and moved it to information technology.
I believe that's what they did.
Okay, and then they cut. So your concept here was that the 50,000 would cover all of the Cybertron contract?
Well, at the time, that was going to cover that for the year.
Okay, now it is. Now you've got 27,000 in dispatch and 27,000 in sheriff.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's a total of 54. So how did we get $4,000 more dollars?
I think they, and again, I don't know, I think they based it on having a bulky contract with the county and then they divided it up by department. But I don't know the answer to the question.
You're asking how we came up with
54
54,000.
instead of 50.
I think we sat down with John Rich from Cybertron and estimated the hours and the costs, and we're under agreement with him of right now on a month-to-month basis of $4,500.
Right, which we've already said you can't expend because you don't have the authority to. But
yeah, that was.
because you don't have a budget.
But that's what we came up on, that figure with, is the $4,500 per month.
I don't know where the commissioners are coming up with that money, but we'll have to ask them on Monday. So, okay, so now the 48,000 that is still in here,
4,800.
or 4,800, 48, thank you, Steve. See, I told you you were the brains. So the 4,800 that is still here, what is that going to be used for?
Well, we were planning on, there was some built-in obsolescence, and we wanted to replace 4 computers and their components for the dispatch. So that 4,800 was that portion of the total. Under the maintenance. Plus there were some maintenance costs.
That's the NCIC terminal?
No, it's this call recorder contract that we're,
Where's that?
that's under line 066. Call recorder, that's 3,800. What are the other two?
Oh, that one, that Cybertron's gone.
Cybertron's
Miscellaneous
gone.
expenses was 1,200.
Yeah, and then the expenses.
Which line?
We had at 1,200,
66.
under 66.
So under computer expenses, you want to get 4 new computers
Right.
and 1,200 for repair?
Well, no, for the call recorder maintenance, it's a contract.
Where's that? I'm sorry, I'm not seeing that.
No, that's that's an expense for that computer system. It records all the data.
So is that in computer expenses?
Yes.
Okay, so you got 4,800 to replace 4 computers, plus,
The call
no,
recorder.
okay, plus 1,200. That's a contract that you have with them?
Actually, it's 3,600 for the call recorder contract. And we estimated 1,200 for the computers.
Oh, okay, that's fine, 3,600 contract. And 1,200 for computer replacement. Okay, that's fine,
Happy with that.
thank you. Okay. And then your telephone at 19,000. I don't know why telephones are so expensive.
Because they can be.
Huh?
Because they can, you need them.
Well, our bill to Verizon was 10,000, just under the comm center. That's just a Verizon, then we have them broken out
Yeah.
from there.
Have we looked at any other options for telephone service?
Well, we
Yeah.
got a backup voice over internet, but the cost of that is carried largely on the internet, but then we still ended up paying a lot for the
I was
systems.
like, does Time Warner Cable come down here?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
We do have 5 VoIP lines, which are Time Warner cable lines. Those are one of our backups, so Fairpoint goes down and the internet's still up, which is pretty common. Well, we can switch our lines into those 5 lines and I'll call forward into there. We also have cells for a backup as well, because a lot of times the towers go down, the phone lines go down on 28, but we get the cell tower off of over here, so it still works. So that is part of the, we do actually employ all the services.
Okay. I'm just, my only question is whether or not Time Warner would give you a better price for your phone service with Verizon being the backup, or Fairpoint being the backup, versus the other way. And I don't know, that's probably something that the commissioners should look at for the entire complex, because we do have, I did not add up the telephone charges for the entire complex, but they're huge. They are huge.
I agree with it.
And, it might make sense for,
It's a conversation.
yeah. So I'm not, I don't want you to run out and do something different at this point, but I do think that we need to bring that up to the commissioners as a possibility, to look at, as because as far as I know, the people that use Time Warner numbers are quite happy with the service. I don't use them because my burglar alarm won't, or my fire alarm, whatever it is, won't respond properly with that. So I keep my regular phone, but I don't know whether there's some other option for the county or not, but yes.
There's a number, having worked for Verizon for 35 years, there's a number of consultants out there that are trained to do that. They'll analyze your usage, they'll analyze your bill, they'll analyze the charges. You don't even have to bid it. And they'll analyze the services that are available to the county, and if that hasn't been done, then there's probably some significant savings to be had. So,
Okay.
commissioners, yeah,
So maybe on Monday, you could bring that up?
I'd be delighted.
Okay. I mean, I'm not,
No, it's a good point.
I'm not trying to take business away from anybody or whatever. I'm just saying that it's probably something that we should do. And maybe what I will do between now and Monday is add up all of the telephone charges for the county to see what that figure actually is.
Sure.
You know, if it's only 25,000 or 19,000, then that's not a big deal. But I know it's more
So
than.
you wouldn't be surprised to learn that quite often these consultants find out that you've been overbilled considerably for years on end.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't. Would you believe?
Would you believe?
So anyhow, we'll bring that up to the commissioners on Monday, and hopefully they will react to that. Okay, the next line is the. I assume this NCIC terminal expense, is that a contract as well?
That's required by the state.
Yeah, that actually gets paid to the state. It's kind of weird.
Okay, and what does that stand for?
National Crime Information
Oh, okay.
Center.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and that's where you figure out if somebody's has an open warrant or.
Yeah, well, they give you a license for so many terminals.
Yeah,
We
okay.
run 3 here, Mike, or 4? 4. We run 4 here, and they charge us so much for each one. It's to keep it an integrity and a tracking of the system.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. 4 terminals. Now, is this is in dispatch?
There's 3 in dispatch and 1 downstairs with the civil stuff.
But we charge them all to dispatch?
Yes.
Right.
Should we, well, this is this is one of those things that if you're looking to, charge appropriately, then it probably should be charged to the sheriff's side, one of them.
I think.
I mean, your contract can still stay the same for 4, but.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
But 3 to dispatch and 1 to sheriff, or whoever it goes to, but that's.
4th one's probably gonna go back up into the dispatch center when that gets redone,
Oh, okay,
so.
okay. So then people will just go in there and use it as opposed to,
They'll ask dispatchers for the info, and the dispatchers will, they have to be licensed to use it and
oh, you do, okay,
certified.
okay. All right, okay, no problem. Now, your radio communication expenses. What do we,
Well,
that's,
there are 3 charges onto that. Dispatch for the Ospey Mountain Electronics out of Moultonborough, that's $5,000.
that's a contract we have with them?
Right. And then, I would have to pull these contracts so you can look at them. But they total $16,275,
Okay.
just for those.
Those are for contracts that you have, okay.
Which is separate from OME's $5,000, and we got 4 additional contracts.
Okay. So is it,
16,
okay, so is it 16 plus 5?
yep.
Okay, so that's, okay.
And then we have one last, it's called a tower rental.
Oh, okay, yep,
That's $4,600 a year.
okay.
And those have been paid already,
Most of those, yeah.
most of those, right?
Well, you spent it last year, so it's okay. That's the point.
Right.
If it was in the budget last
It was
year,
scheduled, yeah.
it was scheduled,
Right.
so, okay, fine. So those are all basically contract costs,
Yes.
is what that is, okay. Now, so the only new, oh wait, no, I'm sorry, next page. Your advertising, I assume, is for hiring new people.
That's right.
Okay, the photocopier, is this one specifically designated for dispatch?
Well, we have 3 photocopiers. One, there's a secondary one in dispatch, and that is the cost for that 1,500. It's not a high-end copier at all,
Okay.
but the cost is 1,500.
Okay. And this insurance here, is that liability insurance or something along that line?
That's the insurance for the tower itself.
Oh, for the towers?
Yeah, when people,
Okay.
what are they insuring you for, Mike? If somebody goes up there, is that what it is?
I don't know, probably a bunch of things, lightning strikes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like an all hazards insurance.
So this is, we have one tower or we have more than one?
Well, we have 4, but
4?
we only, I mean, we're only obligated for the insurance on the one,
Okay.
but I don't think we own it. I think it's
Shared tower or something?
it's shared. Yeah.
Okay. So we have 4 that we probably pay some insurance on. Okay, new equipment. What are we looking at for new equipment?
Okay, we're looking for a 4th terminal, which would complement the initiative that we started last year with the new dispatch. And we'd like to add a 4th terminal into that. That is the plan, right?
Yeah.
We're transferring 3, and then we're gonna build a 4th.
Okay, but we never have 4 people working.
No, we don't. But we do have a supervisor there all the time.
We do plan on trying to have 4 people working to handle the call volumes.
I know, but what you told me is that you have nothing in the budget for 4 people, for the
Right.
shortages.
Right.
So,
Well, we have 3 on many occasions, and then the 4th would be to have the communications supervisor in there all the time. So that would be 4. Right now, he's not co-located with him. He's in there a fair amount of the time, but we want to see him in there all the time.
I'm sorry, Chairman,
Mhm.
the expense for that other terminal was how much? That you just mentioned?
6,000.
Thank you. Can I ask another question?
certainly ask.
And I apologize, Sheriff, for going backwards, but another thought had come to me. When we're talking about contracts on, was it radios?
Yeah.
And
Right.
mentioned specifically that you have several contracts. One of them was with Osprey Mountain Electronics.
Right.
Is that, I'm assuming that's not for portable radios or radios out of a vehicle. Those are for fixed radios inside your dispatch
Right,
center?
that's for him and the radio centers in this building.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the cost of the 4th terminal is the $6,000.
Right.
Okay. And that's all the new equipment you need?
That'll bring us up to where we want to be. Yeah.
Okay. So you've got 4 new computers, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Plus a terminal. Plus a new terminal. Okay. Anybody have any other questions on the dispatch? Yes, go ahead.
Minor expense, the 4 computers, is the 4th, or 3 for the terminals that are there for the people working, and the 4th one for the anticipated 4th terminal? Or is that used somewhere else in your dispatch, Sheriff?
Well, the project that we have going right now, it actually includes the terminals for it. So,
For 4?
yeah, and I'm not sure exactly what the layout of the plan is. I would have to pull it and show it to you.
But you believe that would equip the fourth terminal with a computer terminal?
That's right.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else on dispatch?
Just an
Yep.
issue on a total bottom line, though.
Mhm.
If you look at actual dollars spent through 12/31/2010, and our actuals through 9/30/2011, which looks like it would come in somewhat close to the 2010 figure. And if you look at the department head request of 822, it represents about a 17–18% increase. And if you look at where the commissioners cut it, that's still a pretty significant jump. It's roughly about 11 or 12% from 2010, and what looks like what would be a decent projection for finishing 2011. That's a lot of money.
I think the biggest change here, if I'm not mistaken, is in the addition of the Cybertron contract.
That's right.
And all of that money was absorbed last year in the sheriff's department because we were paying the captain money to do that function.
But then that should have been a little offset by a reduction in the salary line. Or
No.
was it
It was over on the sheriff's side.
on the sheriff's side?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. See, we paid last year, what was the figure?
For Captain Myers?
For the
80.
80,000.
So we
for
paid him 20,000, right, basically,
Right.
for his work. And our contract cost is going, so we've got 20,000 that we
Right.
had, and we're going up to 54. So that's
Sounds like Myers was a good buy.
right. That's why I had no argument with that last year, but,
Neither did I.
you know, but it is I'll be right with you, Representative McCarthy. But that is a significant jump. And I think that was the primary reason why last year we didn't want to go with Cybertron because of the,
Reported expense.
right, because of the reported expense. And this year, I guess we basically have no choice. Unless you want to become a computer expert.
We wanted to have a contract in place by now, but that hasn't happened.
Understand. Yes, Representative
Yes,
McCarthy.
thank you, Madam Chair. Relative to the captain, he wasn't on salary, he was actually an hourly employee.
No,
And he
we
got
cha-
$60,000
No.
for the year.
We changed him from an hourly
I know we
employee
did.
last year.
But the
The
extra
salary.
money that he got for doing the computer work for the sheriff was paid at time and a half as overtime.
Excuse me, that was prior to last year.
I know that.
Last year, we made him a salaried employee, and he got the salary for whatever time he spent.
He got $80,000.
Right,
It went
he
up to, but it didn't go up until midway in the year, so it didn't make that much of a difference. He was only here for a couple of months.
Could be.
I have a question.
But we did specifically change him to a salaried employee.
Yes, we did.
From the extra. Yes, Commissioner.
Yeah, I have a question. The sheriff came at a meeting and you said that Captain Myers was getting 15,000 for the IT. So was it 15,000 or 20,000?
Well, during 2010, he made 15,000 in overtime. And then his base pay was, I believe, just over 60, so then he got up to 80, so he was, no, it was 65, you're right, yeah, and it was 15,000, so he made 80. He didn't get, he had no raise in basically 2011.
So the IT portion was $15,000?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Whatever it was,
Yeah,
it was some,
15. yeah.
okay, it was some figure.
Figures I got were 60 and 20.
Whatever.
60 salary, 20 overtime for 2010.
It was $80,000.
Mhm. It was 80,000. We made no change. Okay, so now, any other questions on dispatch? Yes.
Mine's very minor. We spoke, and we'll speak again about your photocopier you need downstairs in the sheriff's department. You got a photocopier or two upstairs. We've got them all over the county. Are you using the same people upstairs and downstairs? I'm sure when you buy paper for both floors and just expense it out. Am I
Well,
realistic in that assumption?
it is separate under the communications,
I
we
know that.
separated it.
But is your,
I just contracted the company, and the line item should come in, I'm not 100% sure, but it should come in significantly less with I got a contract from them, and it is the same company from upstairs and downstairs on two of them. One of the other ones that we are still using was through Porter Office Machine, and we still do have an agreement with them that we're working with as well. So it will go down, I'm not gonna go down a lot, but it will go down. So
Great
it is,
work.
and I'll have,
Yep.
should have that number very, very soon.
thank you, Jack, good work.
And when does the Porter Office Company, oh, that's under the, when does that expire?
It's expired, but we're still
Yeah.
using the copier, so it's kind of a maintenance contract. We pay by the color copy and the black and white copy, and they give us all the toner and all the maintenance on it, keep it running, fix it for free, as long as we pay by the copy. That was under the old.
So okay. So how many copiers do you have in sheriff and dispatch?
We have one.
One in
One inside, one little one?
One in the dispatch center, and then we have two bigger ones on the outside
Right.
for the sheriff's office.
You're right, though, it does look like we get copies all over the place.
Oh, it's all for the county, I'm just making
Yeah.
sure you
Yeah,
gentlemen.
no,
know
we
exactly
were
what you're
gonna
doing.
send one to the county, weren't
We did, yeah.
we? We did.
Yeah, we gave one. We sent one over.
Yeah, we transferred one.
Great.
Okay. All right, now, you have your piece to say on the sheriff's side.
Yeah, I mean, I thought there was gonna be a lot of media here, but I do wanna put out a very specific statement, it'll only take me 2 minutes, so I'm gonna go through it. I just wanted to thank everybody for doing this work, because I know the hours you put into it. And as well as the commissioners and the whole delegation. I want to talk first about salaries, deputies, line 007. If I had any idea that this was, this was going to be here, I would have somehow got here. This is a line item allocated to salaries for law enforcement operations. Prosecution is a law enforcement function that deputies are required to perform. Presently, I hired a part-time attorney. Attorney Tim Morgan works approximately 8 to 10 hours a week. He worked 5 last week. He's paid $37 per hour without benefits, which is the same as what he's being paid in Wolfboro, but that's an aside. An assistant county attorney is paid approximately $31 an hour with benefits. It's noteworthy that Mr. Morgan has worked here for Carroll County for approximately 6 months. In that I was assisted by the county personnel office in processing his hire and introducing him to county policies. Now, there are certain conclusions that I want to bring to this subcommittee and the entire delegation, because I got hammered in the papers. When people can just have the liberty of throwing out casting dispersions, they can pretty much say what they want. And when you have a reporter that won't call the person being talked about, well, then you get a one-sided argument, but that's an aside. The position of prosecution is a law enforcement function. And I've heard nothing but anybody support that. It is not in the purview of the Board of Commissioners. Now, the money is. Exactly what Mr. McCarthy said. I am in total agreement. But the fact of the matter is there were 3 deputy positions not filled. And so there was money in the line item. And so I needed a prosecutor for a variety of reasons we can't